right, let's talk about CNN. You play a unique role in the media landscape today. There's nothing like it. There's nobody on Fox or on MSNBC doing what you're doing. I'm sure almost everybody watching, listening to the program knows what I'm talking about. But here's one of 1,000 mashups that exist on the interweb and social media of Scott doing his thing on CNN.
Democrats who say, oh, in private meetings, I've seen Joe Biden do cartwheels and handstands while doing trigonometry while solving all the nation's problems. We now know that every single person who said that has been lying to the American people. One day, Donald Trump couldn't hold a glass of water, and we had like every medical person coming out of the woodwork. Should we have the 25th Amendment? Joe Biden could barely walk up the stairs.
I would argue no proof that tech companies colluded to do this. This is nonsense, and he knows it. No, I'm sorry.
There was a major institutional effort.
No, there was
absolutely
dozens and dozens of them.
Was the New York Post thrown off Twitter?
They were, and then Scott, let me try again.
Scott,
let's clarify. Literally, don't know what you're talking about. So it's really hard to deal with.
All right, so those listening on the podcast, not watching, amongst the people Scott's sparring with there are Brian Stelter and Kara Swisher, two leading members of the resistance, although one of them is supposed to be an objective journalist. I still haven't figured out how that works. How did this happen? Because CNN is so reliant on you. People I know, you're like why they watch CNN. You're on the 10 o'clock show, particularly with Abby Phillip. You show up in other places. But how did this happen? Did CNN empower you to do this, or did it happen organically where you go on every night and I no longer say own the libs. I say pull a Jennings. You're rolling your eyes. You're pushing back with facts. How did this happen to get you to this unique place in our media landscape?
Well, good question. The combination of there being a presidential campaign in 2024 to cover and this 10 o'clock debating show, the convergence of those two things really gave me the opportunity and the platform to do what I'm doing right now. Also, I have to give credit to our new CEO, Mark Thompson. He's the one who thought of doing this debating show. They put it on the air between the conventions last year, and I think they thought they were just going to do it for the campaign, but it got so popular they've left it on the air. But it was his thought that we needed to have a table where we could have some conservative representation. So that show combined with we had a normal campaign this time in terms of coverage. Back in 2020, it was during COVID. It wasn't the same. We didn't have the same kind of political coverage that we did for 2024. So the opportunity was there to perform. The new show came along, and I just decided to take a hold of it and not look back.
When you go on the set, are your lines pre-scripted or canned at all, or are you just thinking of them on the fly?
I'm thinking of it on the fly. I think about vectors of arguments that I want to make, and I think about what I think my opponents will do out there. But a lot of it is just on the fly, organic conversation. If you watch the 10 o'clock show, I don't have a teleprompter. I'm not reading anything off a screen. No one's telling me anything.
Yeah.
I am reacting to what's happening in the moment authentically.
Yeah. CNN it says, most trusted name in news. They claim to be unbiased. And yet you and I both know they're ridiculously biased. And we could give 1,000 examples. You got a media writer who's just anti-Trump, one of the most anti-Trump people I've seen in the public square, and a bunch of anchors, not all, but a bunch who are really biased. And, they'll typically have a panel of people, not the ones you're on, where it's like two Democrats and then an anti-Trump Republican. That's like their balance. So is it weird for you? Is it uncomfortable at all to be on a network that's so hostile to the things you believe in, the people you support?
No, look, I've been there for over 8 years now, and I've gotten quite comfortable being in the CNN ecosystem. It's my home. It's my media home. And I have to say, no one there has ever censored me, told me, do this, don't do that. They've never asked me to take a position that I didn't believe in. They've only ever said to me, just give us your authentic view based on your experience and your values. I don't really get any support, there in terms of writing or, content generation. I'm having to do all this myself. But they do provide the platform for me to go out and make some pretty magical moments for politics. And my view is it's working for them. I'm shocked there aren't more debating shows on television. Everywhere I go, I hear two things. I don't agree with you, but I like the debates. I love you. I like the debates. The commonality is the debates. That format, that content, it will work if it's being done authentically.
Yeah. Do the people who you decimate with facts and rhetoric and your eye rolls after the show, is it all just back to the green room and let's have a hot toddy, or they get pissed off?
Some people, the people that I work with and have been working with for years, we're all very close. We have a little community. My two best friends at the network are Axe and Van, and we spend a lot of time together, travel together. Some people who come in from the outside aren't as big a fan of what I do, but for the most part, I try to live by a good rule of punditry, which is you can't take it personally, and when the show's over, the show's over. And if you can sort of internalize those rules, as you'll make it, in this business. Some people can, some people can't.
Yeah. So again, all the CNN work, the book coming out, and then the daily podcast. Are you now? Is this going to be your career? Are you thinking, down the line, like, do you want to be more in the media, or do you want to do other things, or how are you thinking about the medium and long term of your career?
Well, I love being in the media. When I was in college, I was a reporter. I was a radio anchor in Louisville, Kentucky. I always wanted to be in the media. It was what I thought my profession was going to be. I got detoured into politics in 2000 to work for President Bush, then Governor Bush. And I spent many, many years in it. And so, but it was always in the background for me. I wrote thousands of newspaper columns over the years. I like that too. I haven't written as much this year because I've been doing the book, but this media piece of my life has always been inside of me, and it's something I care about very deeply. So what I've been able to do this year with TV, radio, the book, it's made me very happy. And this is what I was put on this earth to do. And so whatever comes to me from this in the future, I'm anxiously awaiting it, because I think I found my place sort of in our ecosystem of politics.
I mean, you may be the best or the worst person to answer this. You worked for and very supportive of President Bush 43. Karl Rove is a friend of yours, right?
Yes, I worked for him. He was the boss.
Yeah. And you're very close to Mitch McConnell, who you called legend in the last block. And yet now MAGA loves you, even though those three guys are villains for a lot of people in MAGA. Not everybody, but a lot. Certainly, President Trump doesn't speak favorably about any of those three gentlemen. How have you done that? How have you kept your close public support for those three? I could give others, but those three, and yet you considered a MAGA hero. How'd you do that?
Well, I think you just have to be honest about your motivations. You have to be honest about your affiliations, and you also have to be honest about how you're viewing the world today. Look, it was an honor to work for President Bush. I mean, the man is a patriot. Karl Rove was one of the most interesting people in politics and was an interesting boss to have. And that experience really shaped me in the early part of my career. Mitch McConnell, I've known since I was a teenager. I mean, if not but for Mitch McConnell, I don't think I'd go to college. I mean, I was a McConnell scholar at the University of Louisville. I'm the son of a garbage man. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have any money. And so all these people played a unique role in my life. Now, where I have landed on Trump and the state of the world today may be different from where they've landed. Certainly, all three of those have had their differences with Trump over the years. But my job today is to help defend and explain to half the country, or more than half the country, what Donald Trump is doing and why he's doing it and why it's good for America and why it's good for the world. And I have embraced this job wholeheartedly. And I've embraced it in the face of a bunch of nonsense. I mean, objectively speaking, I hear crazy arguments. I go out to that table, I go on these panels. I mean, I hear crazy arguments. And I think it's just sort of a miraculous that there's a little bit of a window there for somebody to just push back with a little bit of common sense in a place that had become, in the eyes of MAGA or in the eyes of Republicans, known for just not allowing any pushback at all. And so now I'm here to make the arguments, and I'm trying to do it in a colorful and entertaining way. And I think we're making a difference with it. But I'm very honest about where I came from, but I'm also very honest about where I am today. And I've never felt closer politically or personally to Donald Trump than I do on this very day.
Now I'd like to tell you about the Vapor Technology Association. It's an organization started about a decade ago to protect the rights of Americans who choose alternatives to smoking and the small businesses who have made a living using this technology. They support science-based policies and the rights of adults to make healthier choices. Did you know that many family-owned vape shops and manufacturers across the country are under attack? That's thanks to outdated Biden-era regulations that threaten to wipe out an entire American industry. The Vapor Technology Association, also known as VTA, says businesses are being destroyed and people are losing their jobs. But the VTA says President Trump now has a clear opportunity to change this and to protect America's right to make their own choices and to defend small businesses and restore a free and fair marketplace. Head over to vaportechnology.org to learn more about the organization, what it does, and why they are leading the charge to support American innovation. If you're there and you read about it and their mission appeals to you, consider becoming a member on the website. Again, that's vaportechnology.org, and tell them when you're there you heard about them on Next Up.